Hi guys, in this video I'm going to discuss about my orientation that I had to do back in March 2020. The orientation is a compulsory meeting that you have to do with Americamp by the Department of State. It's basically a requirement that you have to do to keep your J1 visa. At the orientation, you'll have 2 or 3 staff there from Americamp, and they will go through everything you need to know. So some of the things they covered with us was the visas. I've got all my information down here with me. Whilst I'm there, I recommend when you're at your orientation to take a notebook and write down everything they do say, because it's just an easy way to take it all in. So they say with your visas, it needs the DS 2019 and your passport needs to be stamped by officers at the immigration in the US. So you need to make sure you have that with you when you're in the airport and flying, because when you do get through to, I think it's called customs, you need to show that you're on the J1 visa and you're going to the States for a summer camp. So basically that's the first bit, the visas. They also say with your flights to have a copy, the paper copy of your ticket versions of your flights, and to check in 24 to 48 hours before you fly. And they explain basically why that is, because a couple people in the past have booked in whilst at the airport to fly, just to work out that some bits didn't work and they wouldn't be able to fly in the end. And they also told us basically to keep everyone updated as you're flying, because another story they told us was in the past a participant had his flight, I think it was, rescheduled for the next day. So basically his camp director had called Americamp concerned because he hadn't turned up at the time he needed to be there for. And instead of, calling ahead to say, hey, my flight's been rearranged till tomorrow, so we'll be there later, he'd just not called anyone. So then the director calling Americamp to be like, where is he? Then Americamp was calling the kids' parents going, do you know where your son is? And mum's like, nope. So basically just keep everyone updated where you are. If you've had a flight change, just call, send a message to someone so they know what's going on, because your safety and day is what's needed. Another thing you need to do once you arrive at camp is to log into the IENA sponsorship site and check in that you've arrived at camp. And I think you need to do that, I think either every week or every couple of weeks. So, and your camp manager does this as well to say that you're there as well. With you working in the States, you will be giving a social security number. It's a bit like a national insurance number like we have here for working. Your camp director will do this for you, and you'll need your DS 2019 form to apply for your social security number. So this, you'll keep hearing the DS 2019 form coming up all over everything, because basic's needed for everything. And then you'll be given a card that is your social security number, and that's, I think, yours to keep, I think. Okay, the next bit they covered with us was money. So they said to have $300 for when you're travelling there, I think they said, and to, of course, let your bank know you're going away, otherwise they might get concerned with why your card's suddenly been used abroad, and they might think it's a bit of a scam and you don't want your card being cut off. But if you don't want to use your card whilst away, another card you can use is called a Monzo card. It's basically a multi-currency card where you're not charged to use it. So it's basically just a debit card that you're good to use anywhere. Okay, the next thing they covered with us did get me very confused, and I'm still quite confused to this day. So they tried to explain that we will be taxed because we're working over there, and they said federal income tax will be 15% of what I get paid overall, and it will be taken from what I'm paid. And then state income tax depends on what I'm paid. So they've kind of tried to explain it to us, but they can't really go into too much detail at this moment because tax is more for the next year. So you basically pay tax a year after or something. As I said, we need to file a J1 tax return in the next, when you finish camp, basically in the next year, and Americamp will help you with that. Along with your visa, Americamp also provide medical insurance as well, but they do recommend to have travel insurance because, like we've seen this year in 2020, it's been good if you have travel insurance with a pandemic going on, or if your flight's cancelled, or if due to family circumstances that you can't go. But with most travel insurances, you do get medical with it, so it's always good to just have another medical on top because it covers you for even more if you do unfortunately have an accident or fall ill whilst over in the US. Whilst at the orientation, they gave me a little SIM card that's probably about, the whole thing was probably about that big, but with the little SIM card, obviously tiny. It's called a J1 SIM. You register the SIM online and you pay a certain amount for each month. This SIM is basically used as your SIM card over in America, and you'll get an American number, so it's making sure you won't get charged extra. But I'd check with your actual phone company if you can use your phone abroad. Like with me, I got in touch with Free and asked, if I use my phone in America for this amount of months, will I be charged? And up to now they've said no. But I'm going to keep an eye on that because you never know if companies are going to change something. They gave us like lots of different tips as well for travelling to camp, whilst at camp and after camp as well. And they said overall whilst at camp you need to show how outgoing you are, because if you're there and you're being a bit not showing that you're actually enjoying yourself, your camp directors might in the end decide if they're not enjoying themselves and they're not putting anything into my business, then why are they here? Because at the end of the day, you're doing a job and you need to do your job as hyperactive as you can. If you're working with kids, a kid isn't going to want someone that's just sat in the back a bit moody. They want someone there that will join in their games with them, will get messy, will have fun and be energetic. So basically just put your all in, but remember, if you're feeling homesick and that's what your problem is, talk to someone. Your other colleagues are going through that as well. Your camp directors will understand that. You're not going through it alone, just talk to someone and you can work out how you can get around it. So remember, don't just suffer alone, talk. They also told us one thing that to me was a bit of common sense when it comes to camp. Because like I said before, we're here to work. We're not here to play at camp. They basically told us no drinking on the camp premises because, of course, you're there to work. Because they told us a story of someone in the past who's had a bit too much to drink, went back to camp and basically got fired the next morning for going on to the camp premises drunk. Because I think the kids were still there. It was like his night off, so we decided to go for a drink down in a bar somewhere, came back, was drunk and then just big no. Don't do it. Just don't get drunk. If you're working, no, just no point. So the orientation was a lot of information, and with us having it at the HQ, it was quite squished, because basically where we had it, we're all set up on steps that go literally like this, and the screen was just like in front of us, but there was a lot of us, so we couldn't really all fit properly without being squished like this. But it kind of made it a bit funny at the same time, because we're all literally squished on the edge of the steps, like help. But they tried to make us all as energetic as possible, get people to like scream when you hear the same camp as someone else is going to. So yeah, just when you're at the orientation, try and be energetic, have fun, talk to other people, because we're all doing the same thing. We're all going to work in America. We all have that in common at least. So I hope this video's helped, and if you've got any questions, put in the comments below. So thank you.